Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up, an ultra running conversation with Simon and Brian. Simon, how are you?
Doing great. I just flew back from Portland, Oregon for a race, Badger Mountain, which is a race I did, 2, 3 years ago. We go up on the ridge. It's super windy. It's super cold. It was, again, very cold. So I'm finally thawing back. And I noticed that I'm getting less and less resistant to cold. My northerner Canadian gene are kind of fading slowly away. And it felt really cold, but I'm good. I'm recovered. How about yourself? How are your knees?
I think it's probably all those Southern California street tacos. You
Yeah,
think
that's what it is, you know? It's never cold here though. That's the
I
thing.
know. I think it's those street tacos with the salsa. It's making you warm-blooded.
Yep.
My knees are good, Simon. Thanks for asking. As always, I'm training. I'm doing well, actually. Did my last PT session just last week, I guess. And right now we're on spring break. My kids are on spring break. So a little crazy in the house this week. But otherwise, I'm getting my workouts in. Still running with the track team. Today, I got out on the bike for the first time. A true bike ride. 2 hours on the road bike. 2,200 feet of elevation gain. I did 3 by 11 minute surges on the uphills and returned downhill to restart the 11 minutes back up. So yeah, a great ride. And so yeah, training's really coming along well, and I'm excited for warmer weather on the way.
Yeah, I mean, and there's 2 months before, less than 2 months probably, right? Before you, no, about 2 months.
A little more than 2 months, maybe
Yeah.
10 weeks or so. I'm going to say maybe roughly about 10 weeks.
And
Um,
then it's
for
on.
me, and you're talking about the Grand Slam of ultra running. The Grand Slam consists of 5 races. I'm in 4 of them. I didn't get into Western States, but our guest today did.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, he earned his spot because he applied, I think, 7 years. So he's not the one ticket wonder that we would be extremely jealous, but we are jealous of him getting him. But he earned it, so it's fair enough. But it's always fun to see someone getting in these dream race that you think at some point like it's never gonna happen, but it does happen if you persist. So really happy for him, and he's doing it also for a good cause.
That's right. Tommy Byrne is our guest this week, and he is the founder and creator of Bigger Than the Trail.
Yes, and their cause is a cause we've talked about quite a few times on this show, and I think connect with a lot of people that are trail runner or ultra runner. It's an organization advocating for mental health and helping provide care for people that have barrier to receiving that care.
That's exactly right. They're taking away the barrier, whether that is financial barriers, insurance barriers. They're taking away all the barriers, and all you have to do is just email in and give them a zip code, and they'll connect you with some services in your area, whether it's in person and or through the internet. So a great organization. They're really changing the conversation about mental health.
Yeah, and I would say also, one of the big barrier that we talked about a little bit, and hopefully things are changing, is just a stigma around mental health. And I think just talking about it, just having this conversation, understanding that needing help does not make you weak, and seeking help probably make you strong or stronger. And we should not stigmatize that, which is a discussion we've had in the past with several people. And I'm glad that we're able to pass this message. Needing help and seeking help is not a sign of weakness. And I think that's a message that really resonates with me, and I think a lot of people in the community.
That's exactly right. I met Tommy back in 2020 online, and I did one of their events. It was during a pandemic, and I ran a 50K, a 1 kilometer trail. I ran 50 laps on in support of Bigger Than the Trail and tried to help raise funds for them. And it was a great experience and just a ton of fun. And I have struggled with mental health in many ways. And the organization really spoke out to me and their messaging and just the whole process. So I jumped on as an ambassador for the last couple of years, and I'm back this year at 2025 to help raise some funds as well. If you're interested in supporting Bigger Than the Trail, the website is in our show notes. And without further ado, here's Tommy Byrne's Bigger Than the Trail and his Western States 100 2025 preview. Thanks for listening. Hey, welcome to the show, Tommy Byrne. Thanks for coming on and taking some time this evening to talk to us. I know you just got off of a call with your team, and we'll get into that in a second, but how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. excited to be here.
For our listeners that don't know who you are, can you maybe just give us like a 10,000-foot view of who Tommy Byrne is and what you do and how you found yourself in this weird, crazy sport?
Yeah. Like Brian said, Tommy Byrne. I am an ultra runner. I founded the organization called Bigger Than the Trail. Just been an athlete my whole life, but really fell in love with trail running 2016. Just really never looked back, and just have a passion for building community and finding support for people.
What sport were you doing before?
Just athletics through youth. Wrestling was my sport growing up, but I've played just about all of them or a lot of them.
Did you have to cut weight as a kid?
In high school I did until my senior year. I decided I was not going to cut weight, and I jumped 2 weight classes because I let my cousin stay at the weight that I said I wasn't going to wrestle.
And
how'd that work out
who
for you?
was your favorite Spice Girl? Was it the sporty one?
Definitely.
All right.
No, if I don't ever have to step on a scale again, I'll be happy.
There you go. I got a funny story. I wrestled as a kid. I wrestled like in 6th grade, and I'm wiry now. Like I'm skinny and wiry and all those things. But I was way skinny and wiry in 6th grade, and my mom freaked out on the wrestling coach when I was like running with a trash bag and like 3 sweatshirts on top of it and spitting Jolly Ranchers trying to cut a half a pound, to make, I don't even know what the weight class was, like 67 or something like ridiculous.
In 6th grade.
Yeah,
it's early.
Yeah, and that was a short-lived sport for me. I ran the other 3 seasons of the year after that. So, Tommy, so you wrestled, and then you found ultra running in 2016. Let's talk about Bigger Than the Trail, though, and the organization, how that came to fruition. If you don't mind, just diving into it and kind of getting down to it.
So, Bigger Than the Trail is a organization, nonprofit that uses trail running to advocate for mental health, and we raise funds to provide support for those in need. And man, 2015, I started running again, saw my first trail run, a 50-miler here in Wisconsin, and was like, I want to do that. And at the same time that I started back into trail running, I was going through my own mental health journey in the sense of seeking support. And in that time window, I just realized how broken the system was and how long it took to get support, and the barriers and the stigma around asking for support. And in that process of falling in love with trail running, seeking support, I wanted to find a way to give back, and it just kind of meshed that running was a thing that I was passionate about at the time. Mental health was a thing I was passionate about at the time, and I wanted to do something, and that started the conversation. And then in 2016, I ran my first ultra, and then signed up for a 100-miler the week after, and that kind of started the process of let's do something bigger. And how eventually Bigger Than the Trail came to be was that to use that race as like a springboard, I guess, to get the message out there. But it really goes way back to my youth and my own, like my dad's mental health journey is really how it started, and seeing his mental health journey ultimately end in his life, unfortunately. And I always compared my mental health journey to that journey, and like, oh, I'm not that bad, or life's not that rough for me. And I just never sought support, and for the longest time I was white knuckling it. And the reality is like I could have used some professional support long before I actually reached out. And lucky, I've been blessed with a family that supports me and friends that support me, and I've had people in my corner, but a lot of people don't. And that's really where I want it Bigger Than the Trail to fit in, is like we're here for those people, and we want to build community and give back. So that's how it started.
I'm sorry that you lost your father to mental health. Wish he was able to find the treatments that you're providing for people nowadays. It might have went a long way back then, right?
Yeah. Just, I mean, even back then, the conversation was way different, right? Like, I mean, it just wasn't talked about 20 years ago to the extent it is now. So yeah, it's there's a lot of progress that's been made and a lot of positives. And unfortunately, my story's not that unique to a lot of others, and that's really we want to change that narrative.
I think you guys are doing a great job in changing that narrative, and you're right, you're making a ton of progress. But I also think, I mean, which I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I think we, as an ambassador, I know that we can't rest on our laurels, and we have to continue to spread the message, right, and get more people involved and get the message out there for more people to participate in whatever fashion that is, to either use the services or to help support the services for others.
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing because you think, I mean, I'm in it all the time. I live it, and like I go places and it's like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, oh, you don't know about, like, haven't I pitched that enough yet? And people, so it's cool to reach new people, and ultimately it's not a numbers game, it's a people's game, and everybody that we reach is an opportunity to make a positive impact.
I mean, do you want to pitch us your story? Concretely, what do you do at Bigger Than the Trails? How do you help people?
So really we have a group of ambassadors all over the country, actually all over the world, but mainly in the United States, and a lot of Canadians that just believe in the message of mental health matters and wanting to provide support. And we raise funds for those around that cause. And what we do with those funds is we give access to online counseling or in-person counseling. If somebody's in need, they can fill out a form online, just an email, and we extend that service to them at no cost or no questions. So really, it's there's a barrier with maybe money, time. They don't know where to go, and we're just trying to break down those barriers to give them somebody to talk to and somebody to start that conversation. So really, what we're doing at the organization level is building community, but pointing people to that support and giving them access.
So do you work with the therapist, private practitioner, basically, and then you refer people?
So we work with a couple different corporate companies, Calmery and BetterHelp, which is just like third-party online services, and then we are extending in-person options. So currently we have a spot in Arizona that practice receives funds from us to extend offers to people that may not be able to afford it, or have found them through our network, I guess, or like our online presence, or in races or whatever. But that's who we work with there, and then we are extending that to a few other locations this year to give, whether it be underprivileged areas or just areas that are in high demand where it might be of benefit. So trying to build that network up.
And Tommy, just I guess the truth be told, I'm an ambassador for Bigger Than the Trail currently. I'm back. I started with you guys. I think we met in 2020 during COVID. We were coached through the same team at the time, and I did like a 50K around the field in my yard while you were running 100 miles around the neighborhood during COVID. And I saw your little network of friends in the garage, really small network because it was COVID at the time. But there was a lot of people online, and there was a lot of people in the Zoom call, is what I'm trying to say. And so I'm an ambassador, so I know the answer to these questions that I'm asking. But I just wanted to clarify, just for people listening, it is not for trail runners. Of course, trail running is the catalyst for getting the message out there, but it's bigger than the trail, right? It's larger than that. So it's anybody that needs some services. You don't have to be a trail runner, or the application doesn't say what trails do you run or anything like that.
Yeah, you don't have to. It definitely started with that niche of people who we were reaching and trying to just spread the message, but really it's doesn't matter at all to us anymore. I mean, it never did, but yeah, it is anyone. It doesn't matter. It's an email and a zip code for access to support. And we don't ask your PBs and your PRs and your longest run. We just want to give access to people.
And Tommy, this was born, I guess a decade ago at this point. I mean, going from 2015, where it was an idea and a small concept in your own head, and then you started to share it, and now we're at 2025. What does it look like this day and age?
Yeah, it's pretty wild to start something with a vision, not you put your cap on something and you're like, what is this going to look like in 5 years, 10 years? And it's amazing to see the community come behind it. So we started with no ambassador team, and then we started, first year of ambassadors, we did 20 people. This year we have 170 individuals. We've donated almost $500,000 in free counseling to individuals. We're expanding the in-person network, and the vision would be that we continue to be able to provide support. I would love to have some in-person events where community can get built and tools can be shared around mental health to just empower us all to be better advocates and warriors. Yeah, keeps growing, that's for sure.
Hey, Tommy, what do the services look like? So somebody that's reaching out and is looking for some assistance, they jump on the website, they put an email address and a zip code in, like you mentioned. You reach back out, or somebody reaches back out from the organization. Hopefully, it's not you all the time, and connects them with some services. What can that person what is that person's experience from there after that?
Yeah, so up to last year, we were exclusively BetterHelp, which was a monthly it was at a monthly service, and this year or last year it switched over to a pay per session service. So we still offer BetterHelp for individuals that have established a counselor or a therapist through that platform, and if they want that, we offer 8 free sessions. So they would be able to log into an account and they would have 8 sessions available to them. And then we can extend that if they need more time or if they're still in the situation they need support. And we also work with Calmery, which is a very similar platform. And that we are allowed, or we're able to offer 8 weeks of asynchronous messaging plus 8 live sessions for individuals. So it's aimed to give people enough runway to get the process started. And then also we are in a place where we can extend that if it's needed. Some people it's a lifeline. Some people it's a stopgap to get to an in-person. And some people have been using the services for multiple months, continue to expand or extend for them if they need it. And then as far as the in-person options, that's really up to the practice how they want to handle that. It's more of like a scholarship-based an amount that we've allocated for that service for them.
And how do you work with Ambassador? Are they the one doing some fundraising, and what's the typical structure like?
Yeah, and an ambassador is really, we open up an application process at the end of every year and ask a few questions, and people that are passionate about mental health and want to give back sign up. And the structure is really we try to give them a platform to communicate together, share their races, share their events, and then what we ask of them is that one of the events that they're at each year, they raise funds for us. So some people are better at fundraising than others, so there's not really if you raise this, you're in. If you don't raise this, you're out. But we, as a nonprofit, we live and die by the amount of funds that we can bring in, and so it's been a blessing that we have been pretty much peer-to-peer supported from day one. Some corporate dollars here and there, but really it's just the community coming together and providing the support for those in need.
Yeah, that's great. I've been on for a couple of years. I took a hiatus in 2024, but we met in the COVID year, and then in 21 and 22, 23, I was an ambassador and really enjoyed the process. I just needed a break. I had a lot going on in 2024, and I think we kind of see that now that I've been around a little bit. We see people kind of dive in and out, and I really wanted to come back for 2025, and I'm going to use my potential 10th Leadville as the fundraiser for this year for Bigger Than the Trail. So hopefully I could get some funds coming in. I'm not the best at fundraising, but I sure try.
It's tough. It's tough to do fundraising, I think. Do you have any tips for people doing fundraising?
Don't be afraid to ask. I think we often put the no in our own ask, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, we don't know what people are able to do or not do, but sometimes we get nervous and scared and we're like, they don't want that. And then also, I think it's if people say no or don't, if your fundraiser isn't successful, that doesn't mean that whether it's Bigger Than the Trail or whatever cause that you're rallying behind, it doesn't mean that cause isn't worthy. Man, life's tough.
You're not worthy. It's not the cause. You suck, not the cause.
Yeah. Life's tough, and it's economy's hard, like things are hard, so it's hard to ask for money at times, but you got to let them say yes or no.
Yeah, I mean, having done it a few times, not with Bigger Than a Trail though, but what Brian described is very true for me. I felt that there's a fatigue of asking the same people, and letting a breather of 1 year and then coming back can make a difference. So then you know who has been giving in the past, and then you reach out again.
I feel like it's twofold, or it's multifaceted, I'd say. Bigger Than the Trail specifically. One is like I'm sharing the message, and like maybe there's somebody out there that actually can use the help. and
Mhm.
maybe they can't afford to buy me a cup of coffee and add that $5 to my fundraiser. But so it's an awareness thing that I'm also trying to put out there, right? So like if you're not able to donate, you're still aware that there's this option out there for somebody, or maybe it's your brother or your sister or a next door neighbor or somebody in your community that you're like, hey, I think I have an idea for you on how you might be able to get some help. So it's an
Yeah.
awareness thing too. I'm not the best at fundraising, but I think like I brought in a little bit of money, but I also think just an awareness of getting the message out also helps.
Yeah. It's the ripple effect. Like we don't know how it's going to impact others until someone reaches out or someone supports.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a great community to be a part of. Again, I took a little hiatus, and I was surprised after I took a hiatus. A few people reached out to me and said, like, "Hey, I don't see you on the ambassador list," and I was like, "Yeah, I took a break. Like, it's all right." But so it means they were checking on me, right? They were like,
Yeah.
"Hey, like, I don't see you here right now. What's going on with you?" And I'm like, "I'm good. I'm good. I'm just taking a breather. It's good." But I appreciated that they were maybe concerned or just checking in on me to see what I'm up to.
Yeah, we like to say, once you're part of the family, you're always part. So you can't get away. But yeah, everybody needs a break, and I think we're going through growing pains as well as we change platforms of how do we communicate, and it's just some people like it, some people don't, and again, it doesn't mean that they're not still a mental health warrior or advocating. It's just life.
Gosh, this is 10 years old now, or the idea is 10 years old from the beginnings there. But like, what is your core like as a company? Like, what does that look like? Like, how many people are helping you? I said maybe you're answering all those emails. I hope you're not. But like, what does that look like behind the
It's pretty,
scenes? Like,
yeah, it's still pretty small. We have a board.
is it all David? Is it all Dave?
Is Dave, me, Todd, Andy, Evan. There's a handful of people, and then there's people that want to support and help, and like it's the how this is nobody's job. Like this is a volunteer based organization, so we are all doing this, including myself, outside of our full-time jobs and our family and training. So it's trying to let people in as well as finding the right people to let in, and we just want to have doers, I guess. It's hard because you get people that want to support and then life gets busy and then you're back to square one, or you get people that want to support and I don't do a great job of letting them in at the right time. So we're growing, we're doing our best. And what's cool is that there's a lot of patient and supportive people that do want to support us and help in whatever capacity they can. So trying to grow, trying to expand.
All right, you're taking the message on the road this year to California in July.
Yeah, it'll be there. We'll see how big it can be.
All right. Let's talk about training in racing. Like we just talked offline. You got into Western States this year with 7 years worth of tickets. What'd you say that was? 64?
64.
64 tickets you got in. Man, I don't even know what my tickets are at, but I didn't get in, so I wasn't too counting on that. But anyway. All right. What was your qualifier? The previous qualifier, the most recent
my last
qualifier.
qualifier was
there we go.
Kettle 100 in Wisconsin.
All right.
I averaged 16 miles a week leading up to that race. It's funny because that's the one that got me in, the one that I had to just walk a lot of miles and I was wrecked.
Cut it out.
But it was a good test to like see what I'm capable of and know that that's not the athlete I need to be for this for Western States, but it was a grind for sure.
As a coach, I'm going to say it's not recommended to do 16 miles a week, just for the listeners' point of view.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Tommy, you're doing more than 16 miles a week right now.
Oh yes.
What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I'm training's going well. 65 miles a week right now. I'm running a 50K, just a fun run, but just running it to test fitness and nutrition and all the things next week. So, and then I'm going out for the training runs in May to get to see some of the course, and then hopefully be healthy and race on late June.
Yeah, that's exciting. Are you going to do some heat training?
Yeah, I will. I'll do some heat training closer to the race.
What are you thinking in terms of heat training?
Whatever my coach tells me.
Okay.
I don't know. Probably some sauna, probably some treadmill runs in the basement. I would assume that Wisconsin will not be that warm until it gets warm in June, but not that warm. So we'll see how it plays out.
This is a place that is like hot and humid in Wisconsin. I have no clue
It's
what summer
humid.
looks
I
like.
mean, it gets hot and
Yeah.
humid, but not long
Not
term
Western
and
state type of, yeah.
late August.
Simon,
Yeah.
you haven't raced out there that much in the Midwest, and
Why the hell would I go there? No offense.
it's
but
just a question. It's just a question, Simon. It's a yes or a no.
that's my answer. But I did do, I mean, it's not Wisconsin, I know, but I did do a Burning River 100.
Ohio?
Which, Ohio, yeah.
Oh, that's nowhere
So
near there. I mean, it's sort of there, right? But it's not.
That's
really.
Midwest, right?
How far is it? How far is Ohio?
8 hours? I don't know.
Probably more. But anyway,
Midwest.
You can come do kettle.
you should, Simon.
Yeah.
Actually,
we'll
I was
see.
going to go, where I'm going with this, though, is like, you know how we talked to Jeff Iosa, and we talked about like their deep-rooted Floridian ultra running community, and of course they're running bridges and running through sugar sand because that's what they have available. Like these guys actually in this like Midwest, northern Midwest. Is that what you would say, Tommy? Where are you from?
Midwest? The
But
north?
I
don't know.
It's like north.
Is there
though.
a term that is less offensive, is what Ryan is asking?
But these guys are thick as thieves as well, Simon. They have like this deep-rooted community, and they are thick as thieves. It's really great to be on the calls with them all, and they just kind of like
Yeah,
got
no,
their thing going on.
I'm kidding. I do love the mountain though. Like I love the Rockies in Colorado and Utah. Like that's why I'm kidding about it. But of course, I know great people out there, and you're close to Canada also, so I think that's pretty cool. You know, you're close to something great. But no, I was asking for the weather because I figured it was probably not so different than how actually it is in Quebec a lot of the time. And if that's the case, then like the heat in the summer is really bad. But you're right, like June is not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
July
and it
get
can
pretty
be.
bad.
It can be, but it's not consistent, and like
Yeah.
you'd still probably have your early mornings at 50, 60, not 70, 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
So you should come do a winter race.
I'll think about it.
Actually, if I'm being honest, actually, Arrowhead 135's on my it's on my radar, but it's pretty far down on the radar list.
It's a completely different. It's just I've not run any of them. It's I mean I've run plenty of training runs in the winter. I've just never ran an actual sanctioned race.
Dragging a sled
Yeah.
with hot hands, with like a ton of hot hands in there.
You can't sweat if you're gonna stop because you're gonna freeze. And no.
Actually, it's on my radar, and it's also like it has to be in conjunction though. I wouldn't just do it standalone. I'd have to do it with Badwater, and I would do 2 135s in the same year. So like the hottest one potentially, and one of the colder ones. Maybe it's not the coldest, but it's pretty dang cold.
Yeah.
That's on my radar. Hey, are you still working with Microcosm and those guys over there?
Yep. Yeah, I just jumped back on for this training block. So
with TJ? Nice. Good for you.
So yeah.
And that's going well then. So you got all the structure and everything. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I needed some structure. I'm really good at checking boxes and like advocating for myself, but like I'm really good at like someone telling me what to do and I'll do it. I'm just in this stage of life. I don't have the capacity to structure. I mean, I could, but I know I wouldn't, and I want this to be as successful as can be and have aggressive goals. So
What's your goal?
1850.
1850 for Western.
Yep. Shooting my shot.
That is aggressive. What's your PR at the 100 mile?
1830 or 1815 or something.
Wow.
But different,
Solid.
like completely different race.
Still, I mean, solid time. What race was it?
Hennepin. So just a flat.
Yeah. Still though.
But we'll see. Like I said, I think if I go in strong and can handle nutrition in the heat, it'll be a good day. If the heat beats me up, it'll be a long walk.
Yeah. A good 30 hour. 29 hour, 59. Yeah. I mean, you only get one shot at Western, so you got to take it seriously. Like I 100% approve that, and like having aggressive goal. I think a lot of people would say more like, sub 24, like that's my goal.
I mean, that is the goal. Like I want to walk home with that for sure, and like I'm okay. But like I've had this in my head from like when I first put my first qualifier in, and I was like, I think I can do this. And I'm 8 years older and maybe not a little wiser, but I want to put the time and energy into it and see what happens.
Yeah, then do what's Killian's tip for Western State. He says, don't bring a headlamp. It forces you to go faster and finish before nighttime. I think that's a 14-hour though. So
yeah, I'm not in that. I'll put one in my back pocket.
Yeah, it could force you to run in the dark. It just could force you to run in the dark. Yeah. Tommy, you got like you're busy, man. You're like obviously doing a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes with Bigger Than the Trail. I think you got. I mean, a few years ago they were young, so I don't know how old your kids are now, but you got like a bunch of kids running around. You got a full-time job. Like, where are you finding this time to train, and what does the family life look like? What's going on?
We just said we'd see you in July. I have a almost 7-year-old and a 7-month-old, and a wife that has given me permission to shoot my shot, and I do a lot of training with pushing the older one. This Saturday I pushed Brody, who's 60 pounds, for 20 miles because it works and it's what I can do. And, it's a little bit of fitting things in, but also making it a priority without getting my priorities out of line. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I feel very, very lucky that my wife understands. And I mean, as much as it's been my journey to get into Western States, it's also been hers to get this done with, so that every December we're not waiting to plan our summer vacation.
Yeah. So she was even more excited than you when you got in. She's like, finally.
She done. Yeah, I texted her because I was at a actually birthday party with my son, and I texted her and she's like, you're not lying to me right now. Like, she couldn't believe it either. So it'll be a good celebration.
Yeah. After all these years,
pushing that stroller, that's probably better like Arrowhead training than Western States. Mine are a little bit older than you. Well, I mean, you have a 7-month-old, so yeah, mine are quite a bit older than that. But your 7-year-old, I got a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. But I remember pushing both of them in a double wide trailer, a double wide trailer at some point. And man, I live in a pretty small town here in Western Colorado, and I would push that stroller to every park in town trying to get 10 miles. We'd play for 20, 30 minutes. I'd load them back up into the Princess Chariot because I have girls. And I'd push them to the next park, and then we'd play for 20, 30 minutes. And then I'd load them back up and I'd push them to the next park. And we just continue this cycle until I got my miles in.
Yeah, it's fun. Some of my friends are like, why would you do that? And I'm like, why not? But it's fun. It's been fun to watch Brody find joy in it as well. So he'll get out and he'll run around for, up to a mile now, and then get back in. And like you said, some days we stop at the park, some days we go, and the day is what it is, and you roll with it. And then the workouts, you hit the workouts hard without them and go back the next week.
Just trying to make it fit. I get it. Yeah, I remember those days. I mean, I'm not too far removed from it. Now I'm just going to every sporting event in Western Colorado, between volleyball and dance, and now I'm a track coach and all these things. So yeah, just evolves. That's all.
Just changes. Yep.
So you got a 50 coming up this weekend. You're going out for camp. What else are you doing for Western States?
That's it.
That's enough. Who's coming out? Who's your crew? What does that look like?
Yeah, my family. Dave, who's the other half of Bigger Than the Trail, his family's coming out. My brother. I got a good friend, Joe, who I run with a lot of times during the week. He's coming out and going to crew. So I'll have 2 crews. Yeah, it'll be hopefully a successful day.
So Dave cuts through Glenwood Springs quite a bit. You know this, but he never hits me up and tells me he's in town until like he's on his way out of town. And I'm like, dude, you got to give me some notice. Like, you can't just hit me up on your way out of town.
Hey, I was here.
Yeah. He's like, it's a pretty cool town you live in. I'm just leaving. And I'm like, what do you mean you're just leaving? Well, fair enough. That sounds like a busy season, and all the best to you for sure.
Yeah, thanks.
We're jealous.
Yeah, we are jealous, actually, because I am in the Grand Slam, but Western is part of that Grand Slam that I'm not part of.
Someday. Have you
ran
it?
It's a convoluted way of saying that you're not doing the Grand Slam through Western, but Leadville instead.
No, neither of us have ran Western.
Yeah, I have to wait at least like 6 more years. It's going to take forever for me.
You never know. 1 ticket, that's all it takes.
Well, it took you 64, but anyway.
It could take you 1 ticket.
It's potentially there. Yeah.
I've seen a couple of people that got in, and then the next year they get in again from a ticket poll. Or the 2 years. Lucky.
Yep.
Yeah. I see your Hurt shirt that I put in for Hurt once, and I was the last name pulled out of or second to last name pulled out of the hat.
Nice. So did you do it?
Like, no, I mean, I was all the way.
Oh,
Like
on
they
the
did the
wait
wait.
list.
They did the wait list, and then
Oh, I see. I see.
I was like whatever 68 out of 60, 70 people or whatever it was.
Hmm.
No.
Yeah, odds are better though for herd. I feel it's probably 1 in 3 or something like that. Like
Yeah.
you have a decent chance of getting in when you put your name. Whereas at this stage, I put my name in Western and Hard Rock because like I want to accumulate tickets, not because I think they will pick me this year. It's just like if I want to
Yeah.
race it in 10 years, I got to put my name this year, and hopefully they don't pick me because I signed up for something else.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But
I was thinking that for Hard Rock myself. I was like, man, I want to put my name in, but I don't want to be picked because I have another idea. Tommy, what does Bigger Than the Trail look like in the next year, 2 years, maybe 3 years down the road? What are your visions for Bigger Than the Trail and where you might see it going?
Yeah.
No obligations.
No matter what, I want it to continue to be a thing that's supporting people. It's not taken for granted that we've had support and have been able to continue to grow and, never turn anyone away. But really, if all things went well, it would be we build a network of in-person providers that we use instead of all the big third-party corporate not sponsors, but corporate entities. I would love to have a paid position where somebody who has a professional license in that field is helping build content and tools that we can share to our community, whether it be, like peer-to-peer support groups, whether it be, workshops and things like that. And then I would love that to put on like a camp style thing where, just have fun running, but also have some professionals in the field share some messages and get some good positive takeaways from it. So that'd be the dream. We'll
Not
see.
event management.
I mean, it'd be awesome, but no, someone can take it not on and brand it as Bigger Than the Trail, but yeah, not. I would love to I mean, it'd be fun to partner with people, but I don't think that's in our cards. It's not in my capacity right now, at least the stage of life I'm in, without making Bigger Than the Trail a full time gig.
You can mark a course by pushing a stroller. You're fine.
Yeah. Well, I did do 100 miles around my block. We could get a bunch of people to run around my block. So, but yeah, I mean, that would be awesome, but I don't think I think it would be more of an event, like a camp style thing.
Sweet.
So
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, we wish you the best of luck and all success in both Bigger Than the Trail and Western States, so that we're jealous that we're not in ourselves.
We'll be watching you.
Well,
I really enjoy the message that you put out with Bigger Than the Trail. You personally, the brand itself, all the ambassadors, the cause is worthy. It fits all my criteria for wanting to be part of something, right? I have a struggle with mental health myself. I feel like that's a big part of why I'm in the group, or why I want to be in the group, I guess, and why I find myself drawn to it and drawn back to it after taking a year hiatus. And it just fits a good niche space for me to share and contribute and try to help out and do my part. So I appreciate all the success that you've had in the last decade with it and building it up to what it is today. I'm so fortunate that I met you in COVID online, and that I watched you run around your neighborhood too many times in a block party space back in the day.
Yeah, thanks. I remember that day vividly, where you were probably one of the last people on telling me to get out of my garage and finish this thing so you can go to bed. Well, we appreciate you being an advocate and an ambassador, and I may have put a pen to paper and named it, but there's a big group of people that make it what it is today. So thank you. And thank you for giving me a platform to share what we do.
Good of the platform. Where could someone go listen to the show if they were wanting to share it with someone else, if they were wanting to donate? Where would we send them to?
Yeah, you can go to Bigger Than the Trail on Instagram or Facebook. Our website is bttt.run. There's all, you can get gear, you can find support, you can donate, all the things.
It's great. I'll link it in the show notes as well. If you're watching or any of the spaces, you can check out the site in the show notes as well. Tommy, I'll let you get some rest because you are probably tired from pushing that stroller. So we appreciate your time this evening. Thanks so much for stopping in and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.